Welcome, everyone, to Dad's Watching Sports. It is episode 29, and we are so excited to be with you, and thank you so much for joining us. Guys, the band is back together after a couple of weeks out. We've got Matt, the Clippers Suck Kirk, Kyle Castles, and Michael Draper. Thank you so much for taking part in Dad's Watching Sports, and we're excited to be here. We got a lot of fun topics. It is Sunday, August the 23rd, and Kyle had the band back together after a couple weeks. Here we are, the three amigos. Exciting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I am super excited. We're all back. I will say the show wasn't the same without you. I'm not gonna say it was good or better. We'll go with that. But it was definitely not the same without you.
How is it not the same, Kyle? I thought I did a great job.
Hey, look, I either said it was good or better. I never said that it was worse. Couldn't be worse.
That's not what you. If I wasn't here, if I was back in Turks and Caicos, you probably wouldn't be saying otherwise.
Well, you daggum right, but I worry about your feelings, man.
Oh, I appreciate that. I'm also kind of worried about
Matt. We've already got a shot for
Luka.
I tell you, Kyle, I was really worried about your well-being after that. I almost called you.
I'm not too worried about it. The shot that he made, it was insane. Hand in his face, step back, right there at the buzzer. If he can hit that to win it, then fine. I don't see him hitting that two more times and winning that series.
So, hey, Michael, I got a question. Do you remember when I did that? The YMCA? In the YMCA league?
You talking about in your dreams?
No, I'm talking about.
No, I wasn't present for that one.
Oh, okay.
For a game winner?
Yeah, it was a game winner from three.
Did you look just like Luka, except wider?
Well, yeah, and a little bit shorter.
Not that much shorter.
That's all. 6'7". I'm 6'4", or between 6'4" and 6'5".
Okay, I thought you were a little taller than that.
I mean, last time you saw me, I probably had on my boots. I'm sorry, Michael. I didn't mean to take over your intro.
Who needs an intro?
That's true.
Man. Exactly. I'm going to go ahead and be honest with you guys right now. I told Kyle before we jumped on here. The Draper contribution in terms of show prep this week is 0. So this show may go off the rails. Matt and I know last week during the podcast when I wasn't on, you guys said it went off the rails pretty quick, and it may do that again tonight because I'll be honest, I didn't do any prep. So we're something to say about them. I'll just be completely honest with you. We're glad that you're here on Dad's Watching. As always, you time anywhere, just download the podcast. You can also check us out on the RTF Sports Network on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. And we would love to hear from you throughout the show and throughout the week. You can interact with us any way you'd like. I'm going to put it up there on the screen, dadswatchingsports@gmail.com, and interact with us throughout the show. Shoot us some comments as you're checking it out, and we would love to hear from you. Guys, again, episode 29, very exciting. I got to get into a quick little bit of news, guys, that I'm excited to share. Here just recently, we went on vacation to Lake House. I mentioned multiple times.
Is Suzanne pregnant?
We thoroughly. We literally just had our anniversary last week, man. That'd be like the Immaculate Conception Part 2.
Well, they have those tests that come in early,
I know, man, but it's just a week ago. So, but no,
she is not. So we got the rapid testing for coronavirus, got the rapid testing for pregnancy. Like, you should know within 15 minutes.
Well, that's true.
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out.
Just have her pee on the stick.
That's right. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about. All right. Yeah.
Look, this is what the listeners want to know.
Matt has been muted and will not be allowed to come back on. I'm just kidding, Matt. No.
But I do have a question, though. Did you go to Hooters? Did you enjoy the appetizers?
The beer was cold. The wings were hot. And so was the waitress. I'm just kidding.
Whoa. Hopefully the waitress didn't too bad.
No, we didn't make it to Hooters, unfortunately. We did have an dinner though at Ludlow and Prime in Brentwood, Tennessee. If you ever been there, Kyle, you're shaking your head. Yep.
Yeah, we've been there. It's good steak.
It is a very good steak, and I recommend the oysters. And what else do we have? It was
an aphrodisiac.
Matt, you're on 5-minute mute for the rest of the segment. You've been muted. So let's can Matt, if it's all right with you, can I tell my story really quickly? Oh, you're muted. That's right, exactly. So yes, I can. Awesome, very excited about this. So Kyle, you texted me earlier in the day and asked me something. I think it was about a golf game we're going to talk about later. And I said, I'll check into that in just a little bit because the Draper family just bought a lake house today, or in the process of agreed to term. So we're very excited. It's up on Lake Berkeley in Kentucky. So I can now say without a shadow of a doubt, I am a resident of the state of Kentucky, or will be very soon. So very excited about that. And I've got to give a shout out to my in-laws. They went up a little bit beforehand and were checking out things this morning, and I guess stopped at a Cracker Barrel and got some awesome wall decorations for our new lake house. If you guys could see this, it's a 1,000-piece puzzle of the eruption zone at Rupp Arena that will go right above the television in our new lake house. So as we're watching UK basketball, we can all bask in the glory. All right, Matt, your timeout is over with, so you're back.
Okay. That was a quick 5 minutes.
That's what she said.
Thanks for. Kyle, and now Kyle is muted. Okay. And now Kyle's muted. Good grief! This is supposed to be a family show. All right, Kyle. Let's actually get into
we're talking about naked families on the show.
I can't even focus like this. This show. Oh, good grief! Good grief, Matt. Good grief. Matt's Mavs get a win. Matt goes and has himself a good vacation, and now just thinks he can come in talking about whatever he wants. There we go. That looks a lot better than what we normally see on the screen there, Matt. So Kyle, on the dad debate on Wednesday night, Matt and I debated 3 topics. I won the dad debate pretty unanimously. But one topic we talked about was baseball's unwritten rules. So I wanted to get your take. They heard our take last week. What's your take on the unwritten rules? Because it's your Padres that were kind of right in the middle of this.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. First off, I'm not a Padres fan. That's just what I got in the lottery, and I'd much rather see the Cubs win. I'll take all the losses for the Padres as long as the Cubs win. But as far as unwritten rules, look, times have changed. I understand that baseball doesn't want to change. I understand that baseball is probably the sport with the most, what they call purists, right? Those fans that don't want to see any change at all. But at the end of the day, society has changed, and baseball is going to get put aside if it doesn't change with society. So I think a little more showmanship is absolutely needed in baseball. That's going to attract the younger audience. Just look at Fernando Tatis Jr., right? Like, that dude is all over the place, and people want to watch that guy play. He's a little flashy, but whatever. It gets people watching. And let's be, when this pandemic hit and we had no sports and ESPN went out and got the Korean Baseball League, and we got to see those bat flips. Like, that's what I want to see. Let me get some bat flips. Show up the pitcher when you get the hit. Because we do it in every other sport. We do it in every other sport. Why not let baseball do it as well?
So, Kyle, I see you as a baseball purist. You're someone who loves the game, and so I thought you'd be on my side there, man. It shows up your opponent. It's just not the traditional America's pastime that baseball is.
Look, that's the thing, though. Like, I am to a point. Like, I would rather see. I want to see that 1-0 pitcher duel type game. However, that's not getting eyeballs on the screen. And I might want to see that, but I also know what the majority of America wants to see, and they want to see balls flying out of the ballpark, and that's what's got to save Major League Baseball, not a 1-0 pitcher duel.
Fair more question. This is something Matt and I debated. It was a heavy debated topic here. You're in the stands, and there's a young fan sitting next to you, fly ball, a foul ball, a home run ball is coming. Are you reaching over and stealing that ball from that little kid, or are you going to go by the unwritten rule and say, you know what, even if I catch it, I'm going to give it to this nice little kid right here?
2 questions. One, is that little kid my kid? And 2, who hit the ball? Not my kid. Okay, who hit the ball?
Everyday Joe. I mean, the third baseman for the Chicago Cubs.
All right, so Chris Bryant, nope, that ball's mine. Screw that kid.
So now you see there, Michael. So who won this debate now?
No. Well, that's just Kyle's opinion. Since when did we value Kyle's opinion so much?
I value it a lot, to be honest. Unless you're talking about the Texans.
No. Kyle doesn't know what he's talking about. All right, Kyle. Well, then this scenario, there's a cat behind you, Kyle. This scenario.
I'm sorry, that's the scenario that there's a cat behind me, because there is a cat behind me.
There is. But what about this scenario? What about your child is there and then another grown up? They keep the ball, don't give it to child. You pretty upset about that?
Oh, he's getting punched in the back of the head.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Absolutely. Freaking-lutely. All right, so we've confirmed that Michael won the great debate, so that's good. We already knew that anyways. All right, Matt, let's move on. NCAA football. Man, it's been kind of all over the place the past couple of weeks with the Big Ten and the Pac-12 saying we're out. Then they're kind of back in, but not really. Now it looks like they're out again. The SEC and ACC and Big 12 are like, we're gung-ho, we're releasing our schedule, we're doing all this and all that. The Big Ten has seen some protesting of parents from players from Nebraska, Ohio State, Michigan, Iowa, a few of the schools. So my take is to you on what's your take on the parents of the Big Ten going and picketing or silently, respectfully protesting this Big Ten shutdown?
Well, man, I tell you, I think this is an awful situation for those kids. Especially, the kids that are juniors or, are seniors, and this is their chance to have a breakout year potentially, and they are not getting to play because the Big Ten decided to pull the plug too early. I think he should at least reopen it back up, for a discussion. And honestly, if the players want to play and the players understand the risk, then I think they should be able to play. I think there shouldn't be anything that should stop them at this point. It might be a little bit out there for them to actually transfer, but I think those kids should also be able to transfer and go to a conference where they're going to play, because it's only right for the kid. But at the end of the day, man, everyone deserves a chance, and that kid, play them, split them time. There has to be a way where those kids do not get the crap end of the stick, because a lot of these juniors and seniors if I can guarantee pretty much all the seniors that have NFL chances are not going to want to play in that spring league for the Big Ten or the Pac-12.
Yeah, I don't think they are either for that reason. Or if they just also came out saying that if anybody plays in the fall or the spring, they're not going to lose the year of eligibility, and so there could be players that are going to play again in the following fall, and they're like, I'm not going to play in the spring, just have to turn right back around in the fall.
I'm going to opt one of them out, yeah.
Train myself. Yeah, we've only got about a minute and a half here, Kyle. What's your take on NCAA football and the Big Ten and the parents protesting and et cetera?
I mean, so here's the thing. Nothing's going to change the Big Ten's decision. It's done. It's made. Here's my take, the whole thing. It really depends on the kid. If the kid is Justin Fields, that dude's going to go first-round pick in the NFL next year. For all intents and purposes, he just needs to call his college career done and start getting ready to go to the NFL. For the majority of those Big Ten kids, this needs to just be a year where they focus on school. Maybe they get some of those grades up, and football is they could worry about that later. The ones that really hurts are those guys that are fringe players. Last year it was a guy like Joe Burrow who looked like he was, a day 3 pick if he's picked, and turns into the number 1 pick overall because he had that kind of year. If I'm a fringe player, I'm the one that's getting really, shafted, I guess. Justin Fields, he's going to be probably a top 10 pick, top 5 pick, regardless. It really comes down to it's those guys that are like, are they on that draft, or they're on that draft bubble? Are they going to be drafted? Or are they not?
Well, guys, we got to go to break. We'll be right back with Dad's Watching Sports. Are you a dad? Good. Do you like to watch sports? Even better. Sounds like you need to check out our podcast, Dads Watching Sports. Each week we talk about national sports topics. Yay, sports are back. And our lives as dads of kids 5 years and under, and the highs and lows that come with fatherhood. You can check us out on the RTF Sports Network on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. And, of course, you can download the show wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search Dads Watching Sports. And while you're there, share with a bro dad. That's Dads Watching Sports. And we are back here on Dads Watching Sports. Kyle Castles, Matt Kirk, Michael Draper, we're all back on the show. We apologize for segment one. We're not entirely sure what was happening there, but we're glad that you joined us and are continuing to after the break because that was, let's just say that was just a lot of fun. Guys, we didn't really get to cover the SEC completely in that first segment, so I want to go back to that really quickly. Schedules came out. We now know really the full schedule of who getting who, where they're playing, find out times and figure that out. All from SEC country. We're all SEC fans. So I thought, why not talk a little bit more about that because we all know the SEC is the best and we know people want to hear about it. And so, Matt, a couple of questions to you. We'll start off first. Well, do you think that they're going to start the season on time on September 26th?
I do, because I think it gives them plenty of time to be able to adjust to the other kids coming on to school, which I know Arkansas they start Monday. So I believe that they should have a pretty good idea of how it's going to really affect the football team in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I agree. I think they'll definitely start on time. The question will be, Kyle, do they get in all 10 games in the SEC this year?
I think if they do it right, they can. It's going to come down to how well the coaches can keep their players kind of locked down when they're not on the practice field. I think most of these schools are going to end up going to online classes. So it's just, if they can keep them on campus, keep them from getting out too much, absolutely, I think we can get all 10 in.
Well, from what I've seen, Kyle, I know like at Arkansas, they're doing a bubble and, and I think they're instilling it. The kids understand that if they are not doing what they should be doing, that they're not going to be able to play. And for some kids, that's all they got. So, I think they're really going to stick true to what they're supposed to be doing.
No, I agree with you. And it looks like all the schools are going to do it right. It's going to come down. I think it's easy to do it as a college kid, for a week or two. But we've all been in college. We all know what this is like when those girls start coming back, and I want to start kind of chasing them around and talking to them. I might do some things that are not necessarily in the right, not right for the team.
You're not going to stay 6 feet from them, is what you're trying to say.
I mean, I would because I'm married, but some of them college guys probably not.
Well, hopefully they're using protection, and I mean a mask.
Exactly, face shield.
So you guys think so you both think we'll get a season in. The SEC has basically said, hey, here's going to be our 10 games, and then we're going to crown a conference champion in the conference championship game. But then what happens after that? I mean, it looks like we're only going to have 3 conferences. Do we have a college football playoff? Do they push it off to the spring? Matt, what do you think happens? I mean, let's say we've got, just for lack of creativity, Alabama and Georgia in the SEC championship game. Georgia wins. Do they go on to be the SEC representative in a playoff?
I think that they should. And honestly, it's those schools, they opted out for a reason. And, that's up to them. I think that it should all go on as scheduled. Now the bowl games themselves, they might be a little bit different. But I do think that every team that plays that, that would be in a bowl game, even if it's based on a certain number of teams, they should get that opportunity to play that last game as well against that non-conference opponent, or it could be a conference opponent for all we know. But
yeah, well, there's with the fact that the ACC, Big 12, and SEC are going to conference-only schedules, if it works out, there's going to be a bowl that sees Texas and Texas A&M, that sees Florida and Florida State, that sees Georgia, or maybe not Georgia and Georgia Tech, but Kentucky and Louisville. They're going to go scoop those up and say, come play in our bowl game. And honestly, it might be for Texas A&M, it could be something like the Cotton Bowl. And I mean, that would just be huge in terms of ratings. So I think without a doubt, they'll find a way. There's too much money to be made. They'll find a way to make that happen. All right, guys, we're going to shift gears. If you remember, and if our listeners remember, we have over the past couple of weeks, we've done some team lotteries where we've made some picks of different teams. We've kind of scrolled through. We picked an NBA team for the NBA playoffs, NHL team for the NHL playoffs, and Major League Baseball team for the MLB season. And guys, we've got to update what's going on our list. So I'm going to put this up on the screen here. You'll see we've got the Padres. We've got the Clippers and the Avs for Kyle. For Matt, we've got the Nationals, the Heat, and the Coyotes. And then for myself, the Dodgers, the Nuggets, and the Tampa Bay Lightning. There you see the punishments below. So our punishments were for Major League Baseball, donate $100 to charity. The loser does that. For NBA, whoever's team finishes the worst, they get painted fingernails. And for the NHL, you have to record a show commercial talking about how great the winner chicken dinner is. So, guys, an update, as I'm sure everyone's pretty well aware. Kyle, your Padres making a push in the West as second place, only behind my Dodgers, while Matt, man, I've got to ask you, what is going on with your Nationals? They're fifth place in the NL East.
Well, Strasburg had to have surgery, so he's done. So I'm probably going to be giving that $100 to charity.
It's not looking too good for you, Matt. And I will also say the NHL playoffs aren't either because that's already been decided. Your Coyotes lost to the Colorado Avalanche in the first round, and the Avs moved on to the quarterfinals, as did my Tampa Bay Lightning. So basically all we're figuring out is which team moves on the furthest, and then you get to make a commercial for either Kyle or myself giving us a plug. So we're looking forward to that. Matt, any thoughts on your commercial? Like, what are you thinking? What kind of creative juices are going for this commercial that the Coyotes put you in?
I'm just going to get on there and I'm going to burp the whole time.
That's not what we said. We said that you had to sing the praises of the one who won.
Oh.
Yeah. And I tell you what, we'll do, Matt, because you're trailing in a couple of these here. And because the Coyotes put out the Preds, and I know you didn't like that, we'll give you an opportunity to just bash the Coyotes in that commercial. I think that might be a little bit more fitting and a lot more fun. We can tag them. Maybe we can get a little dads watching sports versus Arizona Coyotes rivalry and feud going on here. So we'll let you do that.
Well, I tell you what, Kyle, or Michael, is the Coyotes got beat, and the Avs are going to get swept by the Stars now that their goalie is hurt. So I'm really hoping that happens, and then I'll feel a little bit better about it because at least my wife will be happy.
There you go. That's right. Happy wife, happy life. And then so the NBA guys just recently, Matt's Mavs tied it up against Kyle's Clippers. So we're 2-2 in terms of that series. Matt, your Heat up 3-0 on the Pacers. Looking for, they're probably going to sweep the Pacers. And then my Nuggets, man, they took a beating, almost lost by 40 points the other day to the Utah Jazz. So it could come down to the wire here. My Nuggets are not looking good. I believe they're actually playing tonight as well. So we'll see how that kind of unfolds. But painted fingernails on the line. So Kyle, what's your thoughts on the rest of the way for our little bets here?
I feel really good about my Clippers. I really do. I know that Luka hit the big shot, and we talked about it right at the top. He can't hit that every night, so I'm not worried about that. Clippers will win this. They'll probably win it in 6 or 7, and away we go. And hopefully that means that your Nuggets are out, and Matt's and they'll come down to me and Matt in the next series. And I don't know who the Heat would have in the next series. Matt, do you know that off the top of your head?
They would have the Celtics.
We have a who's next mentality.
I believe they'd have the Celtics.
Okay.
Actually, well, no, they wouldn't. They would have they'd have the Bucks, actually.
So I feel pretty good if Clippers can get through this series that we'll move on to the conference finals against either the Blazers or the Lakers, depending on who comes out of that series.
There you go.
They would have whoever. Actually, I'm pretty sure they would play Boston, Michael.
They would.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they would. Hold on, let me look it up.
Well, they're the 4-5 matchup, and that usually the winner of that usually plays the 1, which is Milwaukee, and then the 2 and the 3 would play, which the 3 is or maybe Boston's the 3.
I think Boston's 3.
Okay, so yeah, they would play Boston then.
Yeah.
So, or no, they still would play Milwaukee. It would be Boston versus Toronto. Toronto and Boston will play. Yeah,
Okay.
we're producing on the fly here. This is
why Mike needs to do his homework.
That's right. This is the no show prep Draper episode of Dad's Watching Sports.
It's basically like last week. You weren't here. You're still not here.
Yeah, exactly. So you guys are just
he's here, but he's not here.
You guys are running the thing. You guys are running it all, and I appreciate that. All right, let's get to a quick dad topic. We had some changes that we've been kind of going through here in the Draper household. I'm sure you guys do this on basically every day of our lives. So just a couple of things from our household. Our kids, it looks like they're going to be switching schools. We won't get into why, but they're going to be switching schools, and we've already got that kind of lined up. And for our daughter, this will be the third school, her fourth school overall, and she's just 3 years old, and the third school within the past year and a half. So a lot of things going on there. And then her birthday's coming up, and having to deal with COVID and just trying to make sure that we're doing that appropriately and respectfully to anyone and everyone else, and from a party standpoint. So wanted to bring up the topic of kids adapting to change. It seems like kids are pretty resilient, but it also kind of affects them from time to time. So Matt, I'll toss it to you first. I know with your daughter, she's a little bit younger, so it's kind of hard to really gauge how change can affect her. But, that's going to be something that we have to really continue to look at and keep in mind over the course of our kids' lives.
Well, so for us, we're staying home. We're really taking this, as serious as we possibly can, with making sure we're not out doing stuff and, trying to keep her safe and trying to keep us safe, just in case, because you never know how this thing's going to really affect you. But so we went to Colorado a couple weeks ago. But anyway, and she was around people for the first time in a long time, and she loved it. She had so much fun, and she just really, really enjoyed that. So I know that, that she is resilient and she can bounce back. But that's been the biggest thing for her, is just that she's not getting out of the house. And we took her to the grocery store at the beginning of this week, and she just loved it. And she was being a chatty Cathy to everybody. And it was really cool to see. And I definitely think that she has missed being out in public.
Yeah, well, I think that goes for all of us, man. There was a good stretch there where we didn't get out much either. I mean, I'll be honest, we get out a little bit more probably than a lot of people do, but it took its toll for sure, and kids are no different than that. Kyle, what about you got 3 young ones there, and your son Wrigley's a little bit older than the rest of our kids, so you've seen a lot of change, I'm sure.
Yeah, so for the most part, and this is general, they're still kids. Hannah, the 8-month-old, I mean, she's 8 months old. She doesn't. Everything's changed for her.
Yeah.
But for Wrigley and Jack, Wrigley being 5 and Jack's 3, in general, Wrigley doesn't do change well. I don't want to say he doesn't do it well. He has to ask a lot of questions. He has to talk through change. Jack doesn't seem to care at all, but they are kids, and so sometimes it's stupid little changes that they can't seem to handle. Like Wrigley and Jack have their own seat in the van, but if we need for some reason to flip that, sometimes it goes off without a hitch. Sometimes it's the worst thing we could ever do. Right?
World War III.
Exactly. So those kinds of things I don't worry about. But when there's a big change, something a lot of times we have to sit down. We have to just have a conversation with Wrigley and just say, what is it that you're feeling right now, and what can we do to help? And he does a pretty good job of explaining, that he just doesn't understand why there needs to be change. But he started kindergarten this year, and there was not a whole lot to talk there. He was super excited to go to kindergarten, and he's done really well.
That's awesome. Yeah, our daughter's Emma's pretty good with change. It'll be interesting to see how Hayden kind of responds to that. Emma, like I said, has been to this will now be her 4th school. We told her last Thursday, hey, we're probably going to have a new school. It's going to be after you turn 4, and you're going to get to go to this fun new school. And she was like, yeah, let's do it. I'm all excited. So it's it just all depends on how I think you present it, like you kind of said, and how you sit down with the kids and have that conversation. And like I said, kids are resilient. I mean, I moved around a lot as a kid, or not a lot, but several times, and that kind of stuff just happens. So kids are resilient. They'll figure it out. Guys, we got to go to a quick break here in just a few seconds. When we come back, we're going to talk some SummerSlam, which I'm very excited to get into. But the Dads of Dads Watching Sports are coming to you with a new weekly show on Wednesday nights. That's right. Check out our new half-hour show, The Dad Debate, on Wednesdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central on the RTF Sports Network Facebook page. And it'll be available immediately for download following our show on the Dads Watching Sports podcast feed. 3 debate topics, 2 dads, 1 winner. It's going to be you. As is Dad's Watching Sports each and every week. Thank you so much for joining us. Michael Draper, Kyle Castles, Matt Kirk, those that are joining us via our live stream, whether our Facebook page or the RTF Sports Network Facebook page. Shoot us a comment. Let us know you agree or disagree with what we're talking about. Let us know if you have a different idea or just to say, hey, how's it going? We'd love to hear from you. And then obviously, if you're listening to us anytime, anywhere, wherever you listen to podcasts, shoot us an email, dadswatchingsports@gmail.com. You can check us out on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, wherever. Let us know what you think about the show. Give us a rate and review. We would love to improve as much as we can, and we can't do that without our diehard listeners giving us some awesome feedback. Guys, one thing I wanted to get into before we get into SummerSlam, you see the background there of Wembley Stadium, 1992. I'm sure that's going to be coming up in our discussions as we talk SummerSlam here in just a few minutes. But one thing I wanted to get into before we get that is there was an incident over the past week. Tom Brenneman from the Cincinnati Reds made a comment. He thought he was not on live feed, and he was. Made a comment that I think we can all agree should not have been said, and was just not good. It was just awful, kind of all the way around. He has been put on indefinite suspension. So my question to you guys is: should Mr. Brenneman be fired immediately? He have been fired immediately? Matt, I'll toss it to you first. What do you think? And will he ever work for a high-profile team like a Major League Baseball team again?
Mr. Thom, or is it Thom or Tom?
It's Tom.
Okay. Well, Mr. Tom is a moron. You just can't say stuff like that, and you shouldn't judge people for decisions that they make or whatever. You shouldn't be making fun of people. Just the world we live in is, that everyone is accepted, and you have to embrace that, and you shouldn't be judging what other people are, And yes, I think he should have been canned on the spot. I don't think there's any room for that in professionalism. If I was at work and I didn't think anyone was around, but I said that, something along those lines, you better bet that HR would be walking me out with a box. So I think he should have been gone.
Well, and my thing is, I mean, and I agree with you. I mean, don't get me wrong. I completely agree with you. I think that it was so awkward the way that they, he said it. They started the second game of the doubleheader, and then he gave this apology like halfway through that was just weird. And then one of their players hits a home run, and there's not even any excitement about the home run. It's just kind of there. And so, yeah, man, it's I don't know. It's going to be really tough for him to bounce back. I think they didn't fire him right on the spot for reasons. I think they've got protocols they have to go through. They're going to put him on indefinite suspension. They're going to do investigations, and just because they have to say that they did that, and they're ultimately going to let him go. I think he'll bounce back. I mean, I think people are, while we are in what people say the cancel culture, I think people are also willing to forgive and realize that people make mistakes like he did. And so I think he'll bounce back. It may be, 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, but I think we'll see him working again. Maybe not for Fox Sports, but for another group. Kyle, I'll put it to you next.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had the same idea. I think he worked 5 innings after saying that. Here's what that tells me. That means that people at Fox Sports are not paying attention. He's not paying attention to his cues to let him know he's live, or people aren't giving him his cues, or this is a breakdown in just Tom Brenneman's thought process. Should he have said what he said? Absolutely not. There's a lot more people this falls on. Is he going to work for a high-profile league team? No. I think he's a pariah at this point. There's good enough play-by-play guys that you don't have to go get him. He's older. Go get somebody younger and move on.
Without a doubt. All right, guys, let's move on to a very fun topic, and that is SummerSlam. SummerSlam is actually going on right now as we record this on Sunday, August the 23rd. But I wanted to bring up, SummerSlam's kind of the second biggest WWE pay-per-view out there, obviously behind WrestleMania. Matt, what in the world are you doing, Matt? Matt, you need to tilt it up a little bit. I can't see your picture, your sideways picture. There we go.
Hey, that picture's turned sideways for a reason.
Easy.
I don't even want to know.
We're gonna have to mute him again.
I know we are. Speaking of turned sideways, so SummerSlam, basically the second biggest WWE pay-per-view out there. Kyle, it brought up the topic or the question of top SummerSlam moments. Give me your top 3 SummerSlam moments.
Yeah. So for me, I start in 2002. Shawn Michaels gets hurt in a casket match, I think, with The Undertaker, and is in December or January, either December 97 or January 98. I forget exactly when the match was. He's out for a few years. He comes back, and his first match back is with his, real life best friend, Triple H. It is a bloody brawl that goes forever, and everybody that watches it goes like, oh, we know he had the back surgery. We know he had to miss years of his career because of back surgery. So every bump he took, he just kind of cringed. Like, is this where he's done and he can't get up again? Because we didn't know what his back was going to be like. He goes on and has like a 10-year run. It looks completely different than he did the previous, 10, 15 years. So it was a fun little deal. Number 2, it was for me, SummerSlam 1997. You want to talk about like when does the Attitude Era start in the WWE? And a lot of people talk about Steve Austin's Austin 316 promo that he cut at King of the Ring 96, but SummerSlam 97 really kicks it off. Austin breaks his neck. Without that, he can still work matches and the promos aren't a big deal. Because he breaks his neck, he has 2 months where his promos have to be on point. And all of a sudden, he becomes Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Cold.
In that, just where he could cut promo after promo, and they were all on fire. You also have Shawn get set up for Survivor Series. So SummerSlam 97, you have Brett Taker for the belt. Shawn trying to help Taker ends up messing up, and Brett wins. So Brett keeps the belt, which leads to Shawn Taker in the K in the cell. Bad Blood. Shawn goes on to Survivor Series 97, and we have
the Montreal Screwjob.
Screwjob. And then all of a sudden, because of SummerSlam 97, we have Stone Cold Steve Austin, who is hurt and is a rebel and an anti-authority figure, and you have the birth of Mr. McMahon because of the way everything goes down, and it all starts at SummerSlam 97. That gives us Austin McMahon, and that's why it's number 2.
Nice.
That's why it's number 2.
That's a heck of a breakdown right there.
Man, I'm good at this, man. Number 1 is, if you notice, Bret Hart's in a lot of this for me. Number 1 is Bret Hart, British Bulldog, Wembley, SummerSlam 92, Intercontinental title, closes the show, and the British Bulldog wins the IC title for the first time in Britain, right? So, hometown, you can't get better.
Yep. There we go. Broadcast live. I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago, and I watched that match, and it was pretty awesome. I didn't really
it
remember
still holds up today.
Yeah, it's and then you've got Brett's sister / Bulldog's wife coming out in the ring and hugging them both, and it was just like typical early '90s wrestling. The feel good cheesiness of it all.
It was wonderful.
Oh, it was absolutely. Matt, your top 3 SummerSlam moments.
Okay, so I'm going to go with Steve Austin versus Kurt Angle in 2001. That was when the WWF and now the WWE and the ECW were kind of clashing at the time. They were going at each other. This match was a part of that, and that was really cool for the WWE belt. And then I liked let me go to this other one here. Bret Hart versus Owen Hart in the steel cage match in 1994. And I'm not giving an elaborate breakdown like Kyle did, so I apologize for that. But two of my favorite wrestlers growing up, Mr. Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon, in a ladder match in 1995. Those are my three favorites.
Yeah, that was the only match that was worth watching in '95 because I think the '95 show ended with was main evented with Diesel and Mabel for the belt, and that was a terrible match.
Diesel and Mabel, man, I never thought Mabel from Men on a Mission would be coming in part of this show, but you got to do what you got to do.
You're welcome for that.
Big Daddy Cool, yeah, that's '95. That was a tough year for the WWE/WWF when WCW was just skyrocketing. So I'll go ahead and give my threes. Matt actually had one of yours was one of mine as well. I had '94, the feud of the brothers. Owen versus Bret Hart in the steel cage match. I mean, when you've got family going against each other and it's Owen Hart and Bret Hart, I mean, two of the greatest WWE superstars of all time. It doesn't get much better than that. And those guys were amazing. And the storyline was awesome. And you got Stu Hart out there like going, it was awesome. My number two is the 2000 SummerSlam. The first ever tables, ladders, and chairs match between the Dudley Boys, the Hardy Boys, and Edge and Christian. I mean, that just set the tag team universe and these extreme matches off into a new stratosphere. And those teams, you're talking about putting your body on the line time after time after time again. And they just worked so well with each other. That was an unbelievable match. And it really, I mean, they're still doing those type of matches to this day. So it really just catapulted for the next 20 years, that type of match. So that definitely had to be my number two. And then my number one, it's not an actual match. It's more of a moment. And if you guys checked in a couple of weeks ago where Kyle and I gave our top 10 athletes of all time, my number 4 was the Macho Man Randy Savage. And anytime somebody gets married in a wrestling ring, I think that is one of, if not the best moments of a pay-per-view or whatever. And so my number one moment is the Macho Man asking Miss Elizabeth, will you marry me? And she goes, oh yeah, because of course she does. So that is my number one SummerSlam moment, 1991, just before Wembley Stadium. Macho Man gets down on one knee and says, Miss Elizabeth, I'm going to make you a good woman and you're going to be the Macho Queen. Miss Elizabeth. So, man,
it also it kicked off a great feud. If you remember the after wedding, the reception, they're opening the gifts, and they open a gift with no name on it. It's a King Cobra from Jake the Snake Roberts. And I mean, fast forward a couple months, and that Cobra is biting Randy's arm.
I'd forgotten all about that. Of course, Jake the Snake, man. You can't count on that guy for anything.
After that, Elizabeth became Macho Man's queen of his double wide trailer that triggered that song by Sammy Kershaw.
No idea where that is coming from. Oh, man. All right. Let's move to a couple of quick hitters, guys, because we've only got a few minutes here. We'll skip the college hoops talk for maybe another show. So quick hitters. You got our NBA draft lottery happened over the past couple of days where, the poor Knicks, it seems like they have a good shot almost every single year. It's like they're paying for the Patrick Ewing year over and over again because they seem like they've got a good shot. And then they ended up 8th or something like that. So you got the NBA draft lottery. It was the Minnesota Timberwolves getting the first pick in the draft, followed by the Golden State Warriors, which is hard to believe. We're sitting here talking about the Warriors having the top 2 pick. Kind of reminds me of the Pistons the year after they won the title and then getting the number 2 pick and picking Darko. Then you got Charlotte, Chicago, and Cleveland, the Killer C's there, rounding out the top 5. So, Matt, we've got the teams that are going to pick, or at least for right now, that are going to make those picks. Who are your top 5 picks if the draft was tomorrow? Is it those 5 teams picking? And if so, who are they going with?
Okay, so I am going to go the first overall pick is probably going to be Anthony Edwards. That's who I would guess it's probably going to be. And then Golden State needs a big man. The DeMarcus Cousins thing just did not work out. So I'm going to go with, I think his name is Josh Wiseman. Is that right?
James Wiseman.
James. It's all the same thing, And then I'm going to
see Matt did his show prep too.
Yes, I did. And then we're going to do with LaMelo Ball.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to go at 3. And then I've got Obi Toppin, that center forward from Jayton. He's going to go 4 to the Bulls. And then Killian Hayes from ULM. I don't know much about the kid, but I got him going 5 to Cleveland.
Okay. All right. Well, that's definitely a pretty good selection there. Mine's not tremendously different. Well, a little bit. So I've got, similar to you, Matt, the Timberwolves. I think it makes sense for them to get Anthony Edwards with the pieces that they already have there. He should fit in nice as a good combo guard that can really fill it up, and he'll go up there nicely with Karl Anthony Towns and a few others. The Warriors, it's a perfect fit for them. I mean, they couldn't have asked for this to fall any better to be able to get James Wiseman. They don't need guards because they've got Clay and Steph. They need a big man, and to get James Wiseman, who I think is the best player in the draft, and to get him at number 2, and they're going to get a guy who didn't have the wear and tear of on his legs of a college season. He's had a whole year to just train and to get ready for this, and he's going to be pissed because he got his college year taken away from him. I think they're right back in the thick of it in the West, adding him in next year, no doubt about that. My number 3 pick, I actually have a trade that I think is going to happen. I think Chicago's going to trade up 1 pick. They're going to take LaMelo Ball because Charlotte doesn't want LaMelo, don't want to deal with the baggage. Jordan's like, no, I don't want to deal with LeVar and all that. So I think Chicago's going to trade up and get LaMelo Ball at the number 3. Charlotte will fall down 1. And then I think what they're going to do is they're going to take a little bit of a reach here. But if you guys were in SEC country, Isaac Okoro from Auburn, shooting guard, small forward, just has a load of talent. I think he'll go 4 to Charlotte. And then number 5, I think Cleveland stays local. They're going right down the road to Dayton, and they'll take Obi Toppin with the 5th pick because last time they took a boy from Ohio, things worked out pretty well for them. Kyle.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of on the same. Well, I know we're on the same page for the first 2 picks. I think Anthony Edwards is definitely the first pick. I agree with you, Mike. I think he fits in with Karl Anthony Towns real well, and that's going to make the Wolves at least a player. I'm not going to say they're going to come out and win the West. That's not happening. But I think they're a player in the West, and maybe even push for a 7 or 8 seed next year. If the Warriors stay at 2, James Wiseman's the pick. Yeah. I think there's a chance the Warriors trade out because they are in a win now situation. And, Steph and Clay and that crew, do they want to have a rookie come in and try to get him up to speed, or do they want to trade that number 2 for not like the best center in the league, whoever that might be, but I don't think they're getting Anthony Davis by any means. But trade that 2 pick for a bona fide starter in the league and not anybody with any questions. And I know Wiseman's probably the best player in the draft, but it's still going to be questions because he's a rookie and you never know. I understand what you're saying about the Hornets trade now because they don't want to take LaMelo Ball, but I don't think you can argue with his talent. And I always tend to think that talent wins out. And I think Jordan's going to go ahead and pull the trigger and have a long talk with Daddy Ball and make sure he knows what's going on. Number 4, so I did this because, it's the Cavs, and the Cavs can never really get what they want without LeBron. And so I'm going to say the Bulls take Obi Toppin 1 pick ahead of the Cavs.
Nice.
Just to break the hearts of all the Cavs fans. But I will tell you, I think the Cavs get a good player at number 5. And this is an international player out of Tel Aviv, and Denny, and I don't say his last name right, I apologize, Avdija. The guard forward combo out of Tel Aviv. Look, we've seen a lot of these foreign players come in. You got Luka and what's his name, Porzingis there in Dallas. That I think I know, Matt. I think you're going to start to see a few more of these international players get picked higher and higher, and I think that's going to be. I know LaMelo's an international pick, but he's an American kid.
Yeah.
So I think Denny. The kid out of Tel Aviv, I think he's kind of your first foreign player pick this year.
Well, Denny, we know you're listening out there, so if Kyle did butcher your name, just let us know, man. That's all we ask, and we'd love to have you on the show sometime. You can correct us, so you can come on. I know you're not a dad, but you probably have a dad, and so we can have you on the show for sure. Matt's reaching into something down there. I'm not really sure what's going on. You just never know what's going on down there.
It's my bag of tricks, Michael.
Oh, your bag of tricks. All right. Well, somebody who might pull out a bag of tricks themselves is Lionel Messi. Guys, if you think about kind of the some of the best athletes of all time, and they're kind of synonymous with teams. You've got Jordan in Chicago. You've got Marino in the Dolphins. You've got Kobe in the Lakers, and you've got Messi in Barcelona. I mean, that's just kind of one of those. It's just there, and they suffered just an unbelievably humiliating loss in the UEFA Champions League to Bayern Munich, and I think it was 7-2 or 7-1. And now Messi's coming out saying, "Hey, I think I might be done. I might want to go play elsewhere." So Matt, is Messi saying sayonara to Barcelona?
Well, that sounds like his last name's going to describe the ending he had there. It's going to be a little messy.
That's right.
So I think he's out. I think he's going to go. I hope he goes to play for Chelsea.
Of course.
He'd be a great addition to Chelsea FC. So, yes, this is my plug. So, Lionel, if you want to go make it happen, I'd gladly support it.
Yeah, that's exactly what Chelsea needs is, one of the best players, if not the best player in the world. I mean, I think it's probably time. I mean, it's across a player's career, there comes a point in time, and you can say this for coaches as well, where they've kind of worn out their welcome. It's kind of time for a new regime, time to hit the reset button, and I think it's probably time. Where he'll go, who knows? I mean, people are going to open up the paybook like they ever have before, so it'll be interesting. But Kyle, really quickly, what do you think?
Okay, maybe I misunderstood. Doesn't he have another year or two on his contract with Barcelona?
He might. If I would have done show prep, I would know that. But who knows?
I may be wrong, but so my answer is in assuming that he does have at least another year with them, they can essentially trade him. And so I mean he's 33, which puts him on the decline of his career. Now his decline starts a lot higher than most people. I get it, but it's still a decline. And right now there's still value there because people want to take him because he's still at the top right now. So if they have another year and they can move him for another piece, go out and get a younger kid who's you think the ceiling puts him maybe not to Messi because there's very few that can get to that level, but puts him pretty high and ride that wave up instead of hanging on as long as you can on the way down. Yeah,
for sure. Well, it'll be we'll see. We'll see what happens, and it could be it's going to be a very sad day there in Barcelona if that ends up happening. There'll be a lot of heartbreak across the country. Okay, guys, we're going to skip forward to our last topic because we've only got about a minute, maybe a minute and a half left here. PGA Tour 2021 comes out on PlayStation. Much anticipated. I know we all three have already downloaded the game. Matt, what's your initial thoughts, and are you ready for a maybe a little friendly competition from Dad's Watching Sports here?
I'm competitioned out, Michael. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be $100 poorer, and I'm also going to have to be recording a commercial that I'm not going to get paid for. So,
if you remember correctly, Matt, all this was your idea.
I know, and it went terribly wrong. So, but I will say this though that it's very realistic because I spend a lot of time in the woods and in the sand and trying to find my ball. So, in fact, I actually had to take tick spray with me to the last tournament on there.
That's hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. Kyle, quick thoughts. We've only got about 20 seconds here. Quick thoughts.
Yeah, I got it. I like it. Friendly competition. I'll win it. It's a really good game. It's not Tiger Woods 04 though.
No, it's definitely not. There's no doubt about that. That's the best game. All right, guys, we got to get out of here. It's been so fun talking with you. Thanks for listening to Dad's Watching Sports. We will see you next week on Dad's Watching Sports. We'll have Jay Cash joining us to talk some Derby. Yes, that's his real name, Jay Cash, talking some Kentucky Derby. We'll see you next week.